Everybody rejoice, your favorite white boy who's made not one, not three, but two broadly fine Ramlethal guides is back once again. If you're looking to climb those last few ranks before Strive 2.0 comes out in a few months, you've come to the right place. In this video, I'll be going over 7 quick tips for Ramlethal to help rank you up fast.
And you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it!
Alright, so for the first tip we're going to be learning on Ramlethal is safe jumping. So safe jumping isn't exclusive to Ramlethal. In fact, it's not exclusive to Guilty Gear. Most fighting games have, in some way or another, some version of a safe jump mechanic. It's very useful in Guilty Gear Strive because there's a lot of characters who have invincible reversals, wake up supers, etc., ways to get out of pressure on wake up. So learning how to safe jump is a way to relatively safely jump in on your opponent. It actually beats many options on wake up, allows you to continue your pressure. So let's take a look at how to do that on Ramlethal here. So the easiest way to do it on Ramlethal is actually after a hard knockdown wall break. So after doing a super against the wall, that'll lead your opponent to a hard knockdown. Okay, so we have Kai here set to do Vapor Thrust on Wake Up, which is invincible reversal. And we'll take a look and see what happens when we safe jump into him off of a wall break. So break the wall here. And then safe jump in, as you can see. Beats his Vapor Thrust and allows us to continue pressure. Now, how to do this? Essentially, what you're going to do is once you gain control of your character after a wall break, you're going to jump air dash. This is called an instant air dash, or an IAD, and you're going to do jump air dash and then dust. So you're going to input jump air dash dust, jump air dash dust, jump air dash dust, and we'll see that after a wall break here, it beats Kai's wake up option. So doing a instant air dash dust safe jump on Ramlethal will beat most wake up options and will allow you to relatively safely continue your pressure, which is very important with Ramlethal, as we'll get into on the next tip. So the next tip with Ramlethal is her corner pressure. Pretty much what the character is generally known for, what she is best at, and it's her corner pressure with her swords. Essentially, you want to try and cycle your corner pressure best of your ability so you always have a sword available. Now, if your opponent is good at blocking, this won't always be possible, and you have to start kind of getting a little tricky with it. So generally, Ramlethal's corner pressure is going to look something like button, sword, run up, high, low, so you can do a jump for a high, a crushing kick for a low, into, button, other sword, continue the process, go high, go low. As you may notice, when doing the pressure as Ramlethal, oh no, I'm out of swords. What am I supposed to do? If your opponent is good at blocking Ramlethal, which eventually you're going to be playing against people who are good at blocking, so what you need to do is essentially just stall as long as possible as Ramlethal in order for your swords to come back to you. So that means cheating out things like, going in for a throw, or, pressure with rock. Stuff that'll keep making your opponent block, keep them in the corner, and allows for your swords to come back. There's a million different things you can do with Ramlethal in the corner. This is generally just scratching the surface, but it should give you a bit of an idea of what you should expect when you're in the corner, get you a little bit more comfortable dealing out corner pressure as Ramlethal. So the next tip we're going to take a look at for Ramlethal actually involves a mix-up involving your grounded flipping kick. So as you can see here, if your opponent is crouched, this will actually go over top of them. We can use that to our advantage by doing a pressure string, something like /2s into slash sword toss, and then instead of continuing pressure by bending up, going for a low or something like that, what you can do is actually flip over them, and this will cross up. So basically how hit detection and side registration works in Guilty Gear is any hit comes from whichever side your opponent is on. So even if the sword explodes on one side, Kai, if I'm on the other side of Kai, you'll get hit. It can lead to a lot of openings against people who aren't ready for it. People still use this mix-up in high-level Guilty Gear Strive gameplay, and especially if you're just using it to climb ladder, this is something that is very easy to learn and is usually pretty good for opening up your opponents once or twice during a set, which a lot of the time that's all you really need. So the next tip for Ramlethal I'm going to talk about is defensive meter usage. Ramlethal is very good at dealing damage most places on the screen without needing to use any kind of meter. So without needing to use things like red RC or like Wild Assault, which means you want to save your meter meter for defensive usage. Ramlethal's biggest weakness is her defense. She doesn't have an invincible reversal, and her health is quite low. If you tend to always be on defense, kind of get blown up. Her standing jab is a pretty good button to deal with pressure if you want to try and take your turn back, but obviously that's not going to work all of the time. So what I find to be a really good strategy for playing Ramlethal is using your meter defensively. Blocking and defense in general is something that is a fairly difficult thing to learn in fighting games. A lot of people don't want to learn how to defend in fighting games, and that is absolutely fair. You paid for those buttons, you're going to press them. But with Ramlethal, it is quite important because you want to be able to cover her biggest weakness. So doing things like using reflector shield to get them away from you so they, get closer to a range where doing things like close slash and far slash make a lot more sense. You can also use things like YRC. So these are both different defensive options that use meter. And then also the classic Mortabata, which is a very spammable metered reversal. But because we are using our resources defensively, it is still a very good option for Ramlethal on defense. So just in summary, getting comfortable with using meter to keep your opponent away from you is extremely strong. That I'm going to take a look at for tips for Ramlethal is hit confirming off of your far slash. If you have any kind of familiarity with playing against Ramlethal, playing with Ramlethal, you'll know that her far slash is kind of her god button. It's extremely long, hard to punish by most characters, hits at a range that most characters can't hit Ramlethal back at. So what you might not know is you can actually full combo off of far slash at most ranges, the exception being extremely far away. If you're hitting them right at the tip of your far slash, probably isn't going to work. But in most cases, what you can do is off of a far slash, you're going to want to learn how to hit confirm it into Daro, which is going to be the main launcher you use as Ramlethal. So learning how to hit confirm into stuff like this is going to be extremely important with Ramlethal because it allows you to deal a lot of damage mid-screen instead of only relying on your quarter pressure to open up your opponent. This also works for 2S as well. And essentially what your combo is going to look like as Ramlethal off of a mid-screen conversion with far slash. If you're just starting out, it's probably going to be something like that. And then into a super. Yeah, so learning how to capitalize off of Ramlethal's extremely large mid-screen buttons is pretty key to being able to do more consistent damage in rounds against your opponent. So just being prepared and learning how to hit confirm. You're gonna be throwing out far slash a lot as Ramlethal. Learning how to hit confirm it, if you ever see it connect, learning how to quickly hit confirm it into Daro is very important. So the last tip we're going to look at for Ramlethal is going to be delayed buttons causing frame traps. This is going to be a pretty quick one. It's something that I used personally a lot to rank up as Ramlethal. Essentially what it's going to be is when you're doing your general mid-screen pressure, so close slash into 2S, if you do it as fast as possible, you can see Kai's blocking because there's no space in between for him to throw a button out. Now, if you're playing against a lot of people who like to take their turn back, you're playing against a lot of people who are mashing, mashing punch, mashing crouching punch is delay your 2S to actually hit them while they're throwing a button out. Your 2S will have priority and it'll allow you to counter hit and then go into a full combo. So instead of doing close slash 2S as fast as possible, what you can do is something like close slash delay 2S, and it's going to hit them with a counter hit. And then to there, you can go into a full combo. This is a very easy frame trap for Ramlethal. It's one that I used countless times when ranking up. It's not the only frame trap that Ramlethal has. It's probably not even the best frame trap that Ramlethal has. And those are my 7 quick tips for Ramlethal. Hopefully you learned something from this video. If you did, leave a like and a subscribe. It really helps out the channel. This is probably going to be my last character-related video until Strive 2.0 comes out in a few weeks. I still plan on releasing FGC content as regularly as I can, so let me know in the comments what you're looking to see. I'm always looking to experiment with different video ideas.